Hello everybody, I'm Martin Schroeder at SwedishEmbedded.com, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can find great talent for your business. And I'm talking about tech talent. I'm talking about people who are highly code savvy, tech savvy, hardware savvy, people who are engineers and who are developing hardware. And so I want to show you how you can go about and quickly find the talent that you need. And for this, we're going to be using GitHub. But you can use also any other platform where people are sharing code. But I'm going to be using GitHub as an example, and I'm going to show you how you can really find the very best people through GitHub. Let's just come up with a random topic for the engineers that we're going to be looking for. We can look for Python engineers, and we can look for hardware engineers. And the tools we're going to be using is Git. Now, Git is a source control tool which keeps track of all the changes in source code, but people are also using it for hardware designs as well. It keeps the integrity of the source code. So engineers are very proficient in Git, and you really want to only find people who are very good at Git, because that's the way that we keep track of all changes in our source code. And we have a site called GitHub where people post contributions to open source projects and generally work on open source projects. And it's a highly vibrant community where a lot of people hang out. Now, if we want to find a Python engineer, what we can do is actually we can search for. So we go to github.com/trending, and we can look at only the Python projects. So we can search for Python in this box here, and we get only the trending Python projects. And we can just look at, for example, how many stars a project is getting. That's usually a good indicator of how popular the project is and also how big the project is. So let's say we're gonna go to, we wanna find professional Python programmers. Now, who is a better professional Python programmer than somebody who's actually working on the Python language? So we can just go to Python, CPython. CPython is a version of Python that is developed in C. It's not the official version of Python, but it's still a fully completed Python interpreter, so it implements the Python language. We can also look obviously at some other projects within Python. There is Django, for example, very popular framework, and this is not Django specifically there. This is Django REST framework, but you can look up Django, for example, if you're looking for Python developers who are proficient in Django. You can look at for example, let's see what else we got here. If you're looking, for example, for an Odoo developer, Odoo is a business platform for accounting, for keeping track of your stock, like anything that's related to, like, it's a complete CRM plus like a complete resource management system. It's really huge. There's so many applications written for Odoo. And if you would want to find somebody who is proficient at Odoo, you will essentially search for the Odoo project, and you will do the same process that I'm about to show you. So let's pick CPython, for example. So what we need to do, if we go to the CPython repository, we're not actually going to see so much information. Like, obviously we can see who is contributing to the project, but really what we need to do is check out this repository. So we're going to use the Git tool to check out this repository, so we can actually get a list of email addresses to everybody who is contributing to the project. But if you just look through the website, we can kind of see who is contributing to the project. We can go to the profiles. We can see what else they're up to. Sometimes you will see email address, but really you're not getting all the information from just the web interface. There is a point with that, because if all the information was available, it would be way too easy to just scrape the website for information, such as email addresses. Obviously, people don't want to be added to a bunch of lists and just randomly kind of added to lists just because somebody's just scraping for all email addresses on the internet. So what we really need to do is just check out this project. So we're going to go to this. We're going to click this green button there. And we're gonna copy the URL, and we're gonna go to the terminal. Now you can use any Git client that you like to use. There are Git clients for Windows, there are Git clients for Mac, there are Git clients for Linux. It really doesn't matter which Git client you use. I'm gonna be using the command line client on Linux to check out this repository, but you can also use a GUI client on Windows or Mac. You just need to find the right client that you feel comfortable using. But personally, I use the command line client because it has the most features, and it doesn't restrict me with what I want to do. For example, if I want to list all the email addresses, it's really simple with the command line client. So we're gonna start with checking out the repository. So we're gonna just we're gonna do git clone, and we're gonna paste the URL to the Git repository that I just copied from the website. And this will clone the whole repository, and we'll just download all the code and all the changes. So Git is keeping track of all the changes from the beginning of time. So you can literally look at any project and you can see what work has the developer done on that project, to kind of get an idea of how good the developer is at what they're doing, and also what they like doing most. Some people may be just contributing with documentation. Some people are actually writing the algorithms. Some people write only in a specific language, because some projects can have different languages. They can be a combination of different languages. And so if you want to find a developer that is proficient at one specific thing, you will be looking for that particular skill being used in the code base. I have downloaded the project now, and I will just wait until it has completed. And then I will show you how you can list all of the developers that are working on the project. And this Python project is a fairly large project, so it does take a little bit of time to resolve all the changes. Remember, this is all the changes that have been done to the project from the beginning of time. So, and now we're gonna change the directory to this to CPython, and I'm gonna fire up the UI, the graphical UI in Linux to kind of show you what it looks like. So I'm gonna use the git k UI. And I'm going to show all branches. So now I can see the more detailed view of the source code and what everybody is doing. And here I can see all the email addresses to everybody who is contributing to the project. So this is the people you would want to be contacting. If you're looking for a specific developer who is proficient at a specific skill, you just go to a repository like this. Look for people who are actually coding Python on a daily basis, and look what they have done, and ask them specific questions about what it is that you want to do, and ask them whether they would be interested in working with you. So we can see here, we can see all the changes that have been done. Like, for example, we can see that Erlend Egeberg has done this particular change. He has updated the copyright line. He has added some comments. He has added some code there. So red lines are the lines that have been removed, and green lines are the lines that have been added. So all the changes are in here, and you can really like kind of explore what the developers are doing. But this is far from all the information you can get. Like, there's so many cool things you can do with exploring this database of code that has evolved over time. So we can actually list all of the. We can go back to the repository. Now here I can directly see who is working on the repository, but this doesn't really tell me who is the most active contributor to the repository. But we can find that out easily through the command line. So, for example, if I just close this repository and I go back to the command line, I can do like this. So I can use the git short log command. And I can do summary, and I can do numbered an email, and just get the number of email, the emails that have been contributed, the emails of people who have been contributing to the project, and I get them sorted by the number of contributions they've made. So you can see very clearly here that Guido van Rossum, and his email address is guido@python.org. He has been the most active contributor to this project, and we have Benjamin Peterson. We have George Bradle, and all those people. They're kind of like they're the core Python developers. They are active Python developers. They're the people that have the most knowledge of the Python language. Like these are the most knowledgeable people in Python. They might not be interested in specifically coding Python projects. They might be more interested in coding the actual Python interpreter. But nonetheless, you can kind of see who is the most active person, and you can easily contact them because you have all the email addresses, and you have so many people to choose from. You can go down the list and just look at other contributors here. And all of them are contributing to the C Python project. You have literally hundreds, if not thousands, of developers that you can find in any specific niche, whether it be Python, whether it be hardware, or whether it be anything else. Now, what we can also do, there is, for example, a tool. There's so many tools in Linux to explore these databases of code. Some of these tools may be available on other systems. Some of these tools are maybe available on Linux. Usually you can get a lot of the similar tools on Mac as well, because Mac is very similar to how Linux works, even though it's not the same system. But for example, we have a tool called GORS, like source, except with the G as the first letter. And we can do like this. We can just fire up the tool, and it will show us the evolution of the code. So we can just start it, and we can look at how the code has evolved from the beginning of time. And we actually get a visualization of how the code has evolved from the beginning. Look at this, 1990. This is the year 1990. Guido von Rossum has started the C Python project. He created the make file. He created the readme. First two files he has created. He has added some content to these files. And we can see the timeline. Then he added more files. He's been working on the project. He added more files. And this is the year 1990. It's crazy. It's crazy how much information you have just by looking at this database of code. You see, 15th of October, 21st of October, he's working on the project. He's working on it alone for a long time. He's just working on it alone. 24th of October, he's adding more files. You can see exactly which files he's adding. He's adding the library, the basic library. He's adding standard Python files. He's adding C files for the interpreter. He's adding header files in the include directory. You can literally like see how he's working on the project, which files he's adding, what is he working on, what has he been working on. And I mean, if you're hiring developers, this is the information you want. The developers that you're hiring, they're going to be committing code. Hopefully, they're going to be committing code into Git. If they're not committing to any kind of source control, you really don't want to hire those developers, because they're not going to be able to keep integrity of the code. And more importantly, they're probably not very good developers, because they don't use source control. Source control is such a basic tool for development, for being able to develop in teams that are distributed. They don't have to be on the same place. Like if you have people working on the same code, it's absolutely impossible to synchronize their work unless you use source control. So you really want to have people that are working in this way, and when they do so, you can use these tools as an entrepreneur to understand what they're working on, to understand what changes they're making. You can literally look at exactly what they have done and when they have done it, and how your product is evolving. And you can use this for any kind of project that's using text files. Git can be used for binary files as well, but it's kind of designed for text files. You can keep track of all the changes in text files, and that's what it's good at. So really anything that fits into the concept of text files, like even if you're working on a book, even if you're working on some document that is basically a text file, then you can keep track of all the changes. You can see what everybody's doing. So now we're at the year 1991, and it's just he just keeps working on it, and he's been working on it for 30 years. Like this guy has been literally like working on this project for 30 years, and all the history is in there. You can literally go back and you can see exactly what it's been doing at every specific date of the project's lifetime. So I mean, this is gonna take a while if you want to see the whole history of this project. So you kind of get the idea. You can kind of see what's going on. Let's go back to the GitHub trending list, and let's look at, for example, if you want to find somebody who's proficient at hardware design, we would be looking for repositories that are related to hardware design. So you can go to Google, you can search for some project, open source project that's related to hardware design, and you can look at who is contributing to the project. I can take as an example the Px4 Flight Controller, the Px4 hardware. So we can look at we can search Px4. Let's just search Google Px4 hardware and look at their GitHub repository, and this is a flight controller. This is a controller for drones that kind of controls the flight of the drone, and this project implements the actual hardware for the controller. So it's all the electronics that go into the actual PCB of the controller, and we can check out this project and we can see who is working on this project and who has been working on this project over the project's lifetime. So we can do like git clone, and we can just look at who is the most active contributor to the project, and also who we would want to be contacting if we want to have any kind of work done on any product that we are developing that is kind of related to flight control. So let's go to hardware and let's do the same thing with a summary and numbered summary of emails. So we can see that Lawrence Meyer has been the most active contributor, but we have a few more contributors. We have some people that are very small contributors, and we can look at the history. We can look at we can run the visualization here, and we can see that Lawrence Meyer has started the project. He created the README. That was the first file he created, and then he created more files. He created board files. He created schematic files. He created documentation for the project, and you can kind of see when he has been doing this. He's been doing this from 2013, and as the time goes by, you can kind of see how the project evolves, and what his logic has been when he was creating this. You can go back and you can check out the old versions. You can even see what he's been doing, how the project has evolved, what changes have been made. So programmers usually put also comments in the commit history about what they have done. So you don't just see the exact changes they've done. You can also see any comments they've put there about what they have been working on. And you can also see when the project has really exploded. I think this project has exploded sometime around 2015, and I actually remember when it was getting really popular, when Px4 has completely taken over the stage in flight control systems because it was so well designed. And now you can see another person has joined the project. We have Mijar, user by the name of Mijar, that has joined the project. And now there are two people working on it. And you see, now he has added a lot more files. Like everything has just completely exploded in functionality and in revisions. He has added different revisions. He has added releases. But it's still mostly Lawrence that's been working on this project. So if you're looking for anybody who's proficient and in designing flight control hardware, just talk to Lawrence. Like, you're not going to be advertised. If you advertise on a job site, you're never going to be finding those engineers because they don't hang out on job sites. They have so much work to do. They just work on projects on GitHub, and they're busy doing this kind of work. And even if you advertise on the job site, even if you get any responses, you're basically going to be getting people that submit their CV to you, and that's not going to be telling you much. If you go on a freelancer site like Fiverr or Upwork, you're only going to be getting people that are actively trying to sell their skills, and it's going to be very hard for you. You're still going to have to ask them what they've been doing before, and you'll be getting some examples of what they've done before. And I've done that myself. myself. It's really frustrating because you can't really tell what people have actually developed themselves and what they're just saying that they worked on, but maybe they just contribute this single line of code to that project and they just say like, oh, I worked on that. Well, like, did you actually write that project? And sometimes you get good answers, sometimes not. And it's kind of like you're spending a lot of time trying to find the right people, but you're not actually finding the right people because it's the wrong place to look in. If you go to a site like GitHub, you can actually search for projects that are most relevant to the product that you're building, and then you can just look at what people have been doing, and you have the whole proof here. Nobody can go back and change the history in a Git repository, in a project, without that repository becoming essentially a new repository, because every single change in this database of code, it's dependent on all of the previous changes. And so if somebody were to go back and change something, you would end up with a new repository. So the history that you're seeing in a GitHub repository, it's guaranteed to have the integrity. It's guaranteed to be the completely correct repository without any changes done afterwards. Literally, if you need to find people, go to GitHub and just do this kind of thing. Just look through the repositories, find the email addresses, contact the people that you find that have been contributing to the project, and you'll find good people. You'll find a lot of good developers. That's it for this video. I think we can probably go deeper into how you actually express your ideas to the engineers that you're going to be contacting here. But I kind of feel that's kind of a topic for a different video. I think that you have sufficient information right now to kind of go there and just start looking for the engineers that you want to work with, and you can start contacting them. And if you have trouble expressing what you want, if you have trouble kind of formulating your ideas to engineers, you're welcome to contact me, of course. I'll do my best to help you with that. So thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something. I hope this was valuable to you, and I'll see you later. Thanks.